Welcome to the Run It Back Podcast, where we run back everything from the 80s and 90s. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah.
And today we're running back Crybaby from 1990. Why did you pick this movie?
It used to air on the USA Network all the time, so I spent a lot of time as a child watching it. I feel like I've said it used to air on the USA Network, so I spent a lot of time watching it as a child a lot. In this podcast, this is episode 36-ish, I think. And apparently a lot of shit aired on the USA Network. But I haven't seen it since I was 10 maybe? 11?
Yeah, it just seemed like it came out of left field, out of nowhere. So you've been having a real USA nostalgia moment.
Yeah, well, it also popped up on my Amazon the other day, so it knew I wanted it. The world just picks these movies for me.
Well, I feel like the world picked the wrong time to pick this movie.
Why?
All the shit that's going on.
Polio?
Well, let's talk about, okay, the movie opens up and it's polio vaccine day. It's 1950s Baltimore. These are not legitimate shots. These are, if anybody tries to inject you with that much fluid, you tell them no. That's a good 2 ounces. That's going to just be a bubble in your arm.
They are pretty solid-sized shots, for sure. But that is how they did it. They just lined students up, everybody in the school, and just same needle shot everybody.
The same needle?
Yeah. If you watch, it's the same needle in this. But that's actually how it was. Just the same needle.
That is so gross.
Well, it was pre-AIDS.
But you can obviously tell these are fake needles. They push in and they pull out.
Yeah, I don't think they were stabbing people, actors, with 3-inch fucking needles.
No, but it's terrible acting.
Ounce of fluid.
Some of them, they're putting it in, they're just wiggling it all around.
Well, I think that's to illustrate that they didn't give a fuck.
I guess.
But so in this line, you kind of meet everybody in the movie. You have your 2 groups, your squares, and your drapes.
Why are they called drapes?
It is a real thing. It is interchangeable with greaser, and it's because their hair draped in front of their face. In other countries, they're called other things. In the United Kingdom, they were rockers, or teddy boy.
Teddy boy seems like a whole different group of people.
In the Netherlands, they were nozem, Nozem. In Sweden, regare. Australia, bogies or widgies. And Germany, Austria, and Switzerland called them Hauptstrack. I don't know. I'm sure that was awful and I apologize. But so, apparently this kind of person existed all over. They just called them different things. But they're your greasers from from the Outsiders. From Ponyboy. From Outsiders. They are the people from Greece.
Well, with a twist, these are the redneck white trash version.
They are, very much so, and they will perform later in front of a Confederate flag.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few.
There are several, yes.
They are definitely So Ricky Lake, you find out, is on her 3rd child.
Yes. Now, she's in high school. She's very pregnant. She's in high school. She has 2 other kids you meet later who are described as being between 6 and 7. So she had to have her first baby at 11.
Something like that.
That's wild. So while you're in the polio line, you meet the 2 groups of people. You meet all of your main players. You got hatchet-face, who threatens somebody with a knife because they touch her ass.
Well, dude reached up and pinched her right now.
Yeah.
So he deserved it.
And she just had that thing ready to go.
Keeps that thing on her.
That's right. And you meet Pepper, who is Crybaby's sister, Ricky Lake. She's pregnant. Wanda is played by Tracy Lords. Everybody's reaction to the shot's a little weird and different, and Wanda's reaction is this sexy withering around kind of thing. And the doctor seems annoyed by it, but the nurse that's holding her down seemed turned on by it.
Yeah, she definitely had the pulled from her past on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Allison's in line. She's a square. She's in line with her square boyfriend, Baldwin. And he's kind of all over. It's real gross. And then they drag Crybaby in, and Allison and Crybaby go up to get their shots at the same time. And he, seductively one tear cries at her, and she's taken. It's all over for her.
Now, did you notice they had the two groups of people in the separate lines?
They did not, because Wanda was in the line with Allison and all her friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the guy that grabbed Hatchet-Face's butt was a square.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so they weren't divided. So as they're leaving school, you find out that Wanda's mom is a square. She's the crossing guard.
She's the Grim. Oh, no. Wanda is...
Tracy Lords.
Okay.
So her mom is a square, she's the crossing guard, and the dad is a bus driver. And they are just chipper and proud and happy and sweet, and she's real aggravated with it.
Yeah, she definitely was rebelling against them.
Oh, yeah. Now, Allison, which is who you were thinking of, sees Crybaby and his group of people up against his car, and she's like, I'm so tired of being good, and runs up to him. And she's talking to him when her boyfriend and her grandma, Mrs. Vernon Williams, intercede.
Crybaby mentions that there's a talent show at her charm school later. She just Allison's grandma looks repulsed at what kind of music he would perform.
Hatchet-Face takes out her knife again and threatens to cut her. Seems to be Hatchet-Face's first line of defense, yeah. So Allison gets in the car with Baldwin and her grandma, and they're going down the road, and they're just telling her that he's no good, and his family's no good, and she has to stay away from him. Meanwhile, they're all in their car, and they kind of speed up and catch up to her and kind of bump her.
Yeah, a little love tap.
A little, and then pull beside her, and they start singing because they said that Crybaby couldn't sing.
Yeah.
But they narrowly avoid hitting an oncoming car.
No, little recklessness. But they get to the talent show, and Grandma's like, we were attacked by a gang
of juvenile delinquents.
Yeah, attacked is a strong word.
Yeah, it's a little rough. This interchangeable group of white boys, led by Baldwin, like, put all their hands in the middle and like, huh! Like they made some pact to get them back.
Yeah. It was real, fraternity type bullshit.
Oh, yeah. And they are the most interchangeable group of white guys. Like, I, at no point, could tell them apart. I wasn't sure which one was Baldwin when they were all in a group and they had changed clothes.
Every now and then I lost him in the group.
Like, they're the most SEC douchebag group of white boys I've ever seen in my whole life. They look exactly alike. They definitely dress up for football games.
Yeah, like the suit and tie for football games, which is...
Oh, bow tie. They are bow tie people.
There's nothing wrong with bow tie people. But
bow tie people at football games is a problem.
And there's... I don't know if it's just a lack of gene diversity in the gene pool down there, but the SEC has a look. Every white dude in the SEC has that look, and you're like, oh, you definitely went to an SEC school.
They kind of do.
Like
a lot of them.
There's a lack of diversity in that gene pool.
This might get me some hate, but I kind of feel like those people that wear like the pastel suits and bow tie seersucker situation to football games.
What is a seersucker?
It's a type of suit. Have a 95% chance of being accused of rape later. Like,
might be higher.
Like, those are the people that are finger banging fucking blacked out chicks in bathrooms. Like,
Jesus.
I'm just saying. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, but old grandma's here is teaching the Hitler shit to these youths.
Yes. Well, she starts talking shit about the juvenile delinquents and the women that wear the tight pants, and she calls them hysterectomy pants. Which I thought was weird. But she was like, if you encounter any of these people out in the wild, you are to remember the 4 B's. Beauty, brains, breeding, and bounty. Which is some wild-ass shit.
Yeah, okay. The beauty, the brains, and the bounty I can get down with. Breeding? Like, is she saying... I mean, I know in the context of this movie, she's saying you want to breed with the rich
Their
people.
pedigree.
But they're also saying all of us rich people are white. It gets kind of hairy there.
Oh, yeah. So it goes back and forth between this country club breeding school. Jesus Christ. This country club...
Well, it's
charm
her,
school.
The RSVP charm school.
Right. And the Turkey Point Swim Club, where the drapes are. It is basically a swimming hole.
Swimming hole with a rebel flag pavilion.
Yeah. Outside the swimming hole, though, you have a group of religious people yelling about how they need to repent and they're going to hell, kind of like the Westboro Baptist Church fuckholes.
Yeah, but you find out those two are Milton's parents.
Yes, and Milton, is he Hatchet-Face's boyfriend or Pepper's boyfriend?
Hatchet.
Okay, Hatchet-Face's boyfriend. And there's also a guy in the parking lot paying women $3 to pose on top of his car in their bikinis.
Oh, Creeper Toe Joe.
Yeah. To which Tracy Lords tells him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Wanda.
Because she's getting way more than $3 per picture, let me tell you.
Well, she ran into some trouble there, so.
I know you were avoiding that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, So Tracy Lords was a porn star, for the people who don't know. But she got a fake ID, so she was doing porn and, full spread Playboy while underage. And the FBI got tipped off to the fact that she was underage and, raided all these places, and they had horrible consequences for all these places. It was awful. And so only her last porn that she ever made is still in production because, it's the only one where she was actually over 18. But also, have a fun fact about that.
What's your fun fact?
During the shooting of the movie, the FBI kept visiting the set to search for co-star Tracy Lords, who is being investigated due to her porn past. To help put her at ease, the cast and crew gathered around and told about their many, many police convictions and violations. Nothing bonds people together quite like, I was arrested for blah blah blah. Anyway, we're talking about the scumbag outside paying women $3 to take pictures.
Yeah, he's just a professional scumbag.
Right. You also see, I keep having her as Lenora, but I did not figure out until the end of the movie her name is Lenore.
I think I had her as Lenora, too.
Well, it's Lenore. I completely missed the la.
She is the thirstiest hoe bag I ever did see.
She is, but she's outside tanning, and she has a sticker on her inner thigh that she peels off to leave, that part white. And which was a big thing. I did it when I was a kid in, the 80s, early 90s. But I could not figure out what the fuck her design was supposed to be.
Was it a CB for Crybaby?
It was a CB. Thank you. That's what that was. I went simple with, hearts and Playboy bunnies, but we were all a little white trash in the early 90s.
So then you meet the Drake grandparents.
Yes.
Or the Walter grandparent? One of them?
It's Ramona Ricketts and Uncle Belvedere.
I thought, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah. Ramona is Crybaby's grandma.
And
Uncle Belvedere is her husband because she says they've been together for 10 years. They call him Uncle Belvedere, and in the credits, he's credited as Belvedere Ricketts. So they are married.
But they're not Crybaby's uncle? He's not Crybaby's uncle?
He's Crybaby's step-grandpa.
But not his uncle as well.
I don't know.
It could be.
I don't think so. I think it's just, Mommy brings home a new friend and you get to call him Uncle Dave.
I guess.
Yeah.
They're just a weird-ass group of people.
But Grandma Ramona here looks like she fell out of a Borderlands game.
Yeah, she's got the old, I don't know if it's a Union or Confederate hat, probably Confederate soldier with a duck mounted to it.
Yeah.
They definitely look like steampunk redneck white trash.
It is very steampunky. And in every scene, she has red lipstick across all of her teeth. She has on full-length gloves that go, opera gloves that go up past her elbow that have, chain stud things around the top of them. She has on a silver pant, I don't know, body stocking situation. She's a full feeling, man.
Speaking of the gloves, being in the middle of Corona season, I saw a lady the other day that had hot pink dishwashing gloves up to her elbows the other day.
I guess you gotta do what you gotta do.
So yeah, Grandma and Grandpa, Uncle, live in white trash heaven, basically.
But Grandma Ramona, man, she's just hyping them all up.
Yeah, she's definitely the positive vibes.
She tells Wanda that she looks so pretty, I'll paint it up like trash. And she's talking about how Pepper looks gorgeous with being pregnant, and she's so proud of her. And Hatchet-Face, she's like, you're just like me, you're hard as nails, and don't take shit from anybody. She's hyping them all up. She gives Pepper a bassinet for her baby, which you had a real reaction to.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of god-awful shit on it, and like a rebel flag pillow.
Well, it's made out of bones.
And it's made out of bones.
I don't know how you glossed over that for the pillow. And then she takes Crybaby aside and gives him a motorcycle. Now, I should say that she has been babysitting Pepper's other 2 kids all day, and they helped her steal 2 Cadillacs because she apparently steals cars, strips their parts, and then sells the parts to the community. Because you meet a guy who's in there buying a muffler for $15.
Yeah, that's Dupree.
Yeah.
He seems to be kind of close with the family.
And then when they give Crybaby his motorcycle, she said it was a lot of hubcaps.
Crybaby cries over his motorcycle. He's happy.
He said he's the happiest juvenile delinquent in Baltimore, and I met a girl.
Yeah, and he met a girl, so he goes to see Allison on his bike.
She is still singing at the charm school.
She's singing this song. Oh, douchebag Baldwin thinks it's about him, but it's definitely not about him.
Well, first the boys sing, and all the girls are like gathered around the table just giggling and swooning like it's the best thing ever. And then Allison starts singing, and like Baldwin's picturing them getting married and all this stuff, but she's singing her heart out, it looks like, to him, but she's picturing Crybaby's face on all of the stand-in white boys.
So Crybaby shows up on his bike, and he wants Allison to hear him sing later at the Redneck Pavilion.
And he's so polite about it, though. Like, Mrs. Vernon Williams comes out, and he was like, I'm very sorry about what happened this afternoon, Mrs. Vernon Williams. Can Allison come outside? I'm singing tonight, and I would like her to hear me sing. He's so polite about it. And then douche knuckle Baldwin comes out, grabs her tea out of her hand, throws it in Crybaby's face, punches him in the stomach, and then right hooks him to the face.
And when Crybaby's talking to her, he's like, it's okay about my face, it don't hurt that bad.
Yeah. So Allison tells Baldwin to fuck off, jumps on the back of his motorcycle, and then asks permission from Grandma. She says, please, let me just have one night of happiness. And Grandma's like, what if you get your dress dirty? It's like, number one, so much worse things could happen, but I think Grandma used to be a freak in her day.
That or
she
Grandma
regrets not being a freak.
Regrets not living to the fullest because Grandma slowly goes to the dark side.
She does not slowly. She makes a rapid descent to the dark side.
So they're all at the Turkey Point Redneck Riviera.
The jukebox jamboree.
Allison's like, I don't think I'll fit in. And he's like, no, you're fine. Whatever. And then
but she wasn't. The girls started talking shit immediately. Yeah.
But the Crybaby girls, who, I don't know why they settled on that name. But they decided they're going to give her a bad girl beauty makeover.
A la Grease.
I guess. Oh, Allison asks, do you think I got what it takes? And Crybaby's like, you got it wrong.
Yeah, I saw your reaction when he said that.
Like, woo. So they give her a makeover, and she doesn't, they don't really trash her up. She just kind of looks like a normal going out.
They definitely take the pearl earrings and necklace off of her. It's weird, there's a trend going around on Twitter, things that are classy if you're rich and trashy if you're poor. And it seems like red lipstick might be one of them. Because she has on red lipstick and looks all prim and proper and sweet and her all white with her red lipstick. And then they have on red lipstick and people keep talking how they look trash and cheap. And I think it's the exact same color red.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Money changes things.
Money changes things.
So
my favorite example of things that are classy if you're rich and trashy if you're poor was knowing 2 languages.
That is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you looked at, if you're rich, you're just, oh, that person's educated.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was like, oh, they immigrated here and learned.
Yeah, nobody screams at you to go back where you came from. Or yeah, it's fucked up.
So, gets to where old Crybaby and his band of misfits.
Well, real quick, we need to say that Lenore is pissed off that he shows up with her.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because she becomes a real problem later.
So, Crybaby and his band of misfits gets up there and sings. They eventually pull...
He's doing his
Allison
best Elvis.
But Lenora's thirsty ass takes her panties off in the middle of everybody.
Yeah.
Did she ever throw them?
Yeah.
Okay.
She throws them up there, and Allison sees and kind of looks at her and is like, oh, well, what the fuck was that? And then later when Crybaby pulls Allison up on stage, Lenore gets real pissed.
Yeah, she gets pissed and leaves.
So he singing this song about how he's the king, and he pulls her up there to do the queen part. Then it cuts to a field full of blankets with kids making out every fucking where.
It's like the French kiss picnic field or something.
I've done some French kissing. I don't know what they were doing. That's another country.
He's like, kiss me hard. I don't know if you really want to be kissed hard. Like, nobody needs head butted.
More teeth!
So everybody just starts licking each other's faces and tongues and all kinds of god-awful awkward shit.
Well, she says, I've never French kissed anybody. You'll have to teach me. So he's like step by stepping it for her. It was like, first you open your mouth and he licks her face. It's like, then you stick your tongue out and he licks her again. It was like, and then I stick my tongue out and he licks her face again. It was like, and then we wiggle him around and it's hot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
So everybody in the field's doing it. All the people dancing are doing it.
But the people dancing are doing some kind of like only if you heard it explained like that. Like, their tongues are visible to everybody, and they're just licking each other's. It was the grossest shit I've ever seen.
At one point, Milton is sucking off hatchet-face tongue.
Yeah, it's...
Then they show the little kids, they have suckers. They look at each other, look at their suckers, they just swap suckers.
Yeah.
Which was gross to begin with.
I mean, they are brother and sister.
I guess they didn't go at it.
Yeah, because we still haven't figured out Grandma Ramona and Uncle Belvedere.
Yeah, because Uncle Belvedere could be Uncle Grandpa.
Could be, I'm not sure.
Grandpa Uncle. So in the middle of all this, the squares show up and they start vandalizing cars. But at the same time, there's a lightning hits the tree in the French kiss fuckery field.
Yeah.
And old boy gets real irate about the lightning. And you figure out that his dad and mom were put to death.
Well, hold on. We have to talk about some things before we quite get there.
Okay.
First of all, she's real concerned about getting mononucleosis. Yeah. And he's like, no. And he's like, if you don't like it, I'll stop. So Allison starts talking about how she has to stay pure. She wants to, but she can't. She has to stay pure for her parents because they died and she's an orphan. And he says, well, it's no wonder we're together. I'm an orphan too. And she decides he can touch her boob, but over the shirt. And then while they're making out and he's groping her and she's talking about how good his fingers feel, she describes her parents' death and how they always take separate airplanes, but somehow both of their airplanes crashed and she never saw him again. And he's like, orphans have special needs. We need each other. Like, just trying to get some...
Nookie?
Okay.
They did it all for the Nookie?
It's just wild. Like,
but yeah, her parents...
Like, I've never made out with a dude while describing the death of a loved one.
Yeah. She explained her parents always took two separate planes to protect her, so if one of them died,
right, she
would have somebody there, but it backfired.
They both crashed. I imagine them crashing into each other.
Yeah. But
then the lightning hits the tree. Go ahead.
Or, in a twist, okay, you learn that Crybaby's father was the alphabet bomber. He was called that because he bombed an airplane and a barbershop. Did the alphabet bomber bomb two airplanes at the same time and actually kill her parents?
I think they said airport for A, but that is a good plot twist.
I mean, airports have multiple airplanes.
That's interesting.
So, he was sentenced to death by the electric chair. His mom, who he said couldn't even spell, tried to defend him.
Wait. The lightning hits the tree, freaks out. He says he doesn't like electricity. He rips his shirt open. He has a tattoo of the electric chair on his chest, which is super fucked up. He says his dad was the alphabet bomber, and he goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, boom! I was fucking dying! And she's like, what about your mom? I was like, she couldn't even spell, but they killed her too! Oh, I'm fucking dying laughing out loud at this part, like...
And old Allison gets all nasty, dirty, and licks his one tear off his face.
Yes, she does, which becomes a thing. So meanwhile, the squares have vandalized all of the cars in the parking lot.
And then old Baldwin finds Crybaby's bike.
Right. And he lights it on fire and then shoves it into the pavilion where everybody's dancing.
Which sets off a fight. Everybody kind of goes at it.
Yes. As Crybaby and Allison are running back towards the fight, Lenore runs up to him and he just clotheslines her right into a mud puddle and runs away. And Allison stops to help her up and she goes, "I'm having his baby."
Yeah, she's one of those trash people. She wants what she wants and she'll do anything to get it, so she lies.
Right.
Makes up all kinds of shit.
But these squares, who are supposed to be the good people, are, like, these men are full on down here beating women. One guy grabs Pepper's 2 little kids. I don't know what his plans was with the kids.
That was Baldwin.
Was it? I can't tell the white boys apart. Like, grab some kids, beating women. At one point, I guess a cop has his baton around Pepper's throat, like a pregnant woman's throat, choking her. I was like, this is not a good look for you people. What the fuck? So Allison runs up to Baldwin, who's been beat on the ground, and he was like, "They beat me because I loved you."
Yeah.
But actually, he grabbed up 2 children, and great-grandma threw a hubcap at his head, and then the little kids kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah. The little kids went hard.
Yeah. But while she's with him, Crybaby, I guess, puts out his bike.
Well, the bike was already put out. They didn't set it on fire real good at all. Like, it was just kind of charred on the outside. It still works.
So he gets on it, and he does not give her a choice. He just pulls up beside her and was like, "Get on!" And she leaves Baldwin in the mud puddle and gets on his bike, but they make it about 5 feet before they're surrounded by cops.
Everybody's getting arrested, and people are pleading for Allison. She's the good girl.
Yeah, let her go, but they don't let her go.
But Crybaby tells little Allison that he's burning inside to touch her.
Yeah.
Then you go to court.
Yes. Mrs. Vernon Williams gets photographed going into court. She does not care for that. So they go to court. So the judge is trying to talk to everybody's parents. He's like going down the line. And Wanda's sweet little parents say they're there for her. And Wanda says a couple sentences that have fuck in it, and the mom doesn't know what it means. And the dad tells her it's just something the kids say to sound adult or grown up. So the mom asks the judge if she can just take Wanda the fuck home.
Which is pretty good. It was funny. Well, Milton's mom starts speaking in tongues.
Yeah, that was wild.
Then you got hatchet-face's parents. Old dad rolls in. Looks like he's on like a 30-day bender.
Yeah, he looks rough.
He rolls the mom in, who has an iron lung, while she's smoking.
Yes. The judge says, "There's no smoking in here." And she's like, "Why? I paid taxes on cigarettes." So he's handing down sentences. He takes Pepper's kids away from her and gives them to an orphanage so somebody can at least raise them right and give them proper names.
Well, he says proper Christian names, because apparently Snare Drum and Susie Q
Snare Drum
are not legit names.
Right. He lets the other kids go, says Crybaby was the leader in the gang war, and sentences him to training school for boys until his 21st birthday. But it's like a juvenile detention facility, prison situation.
It's basically like prison for kids.
Yeah.
What it looked like.
Mm-hmm. Complete with like the stripes and everything.
Those were some old ass looking kids, if you ask me, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think the only one that wasn't in their 20s while making this is the actress that plays Allison. So, for some reason, Crybaby being incarcerated is big news. Like, you would have thought he was a mass murderer.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because his dad was the alphabet killer? I don't know.
Alphabet bomber, excuse me. But
press shows up, and Lenore's like, has 2 of them with her. She's like, "I'm going to give you a big story." So they get Crybaby going in saying, they ask what it feels like to be a juvenile delinquent. And he was like, "It feels great. It's the best feeling in the world." And as they're pulling him in, Lenore runs in and takes a picture with him. And he's like, "I don't like this bitch. I'm with Allison." Allison is like spelling her name as he goes in. And then Lenore's left there and she's like, "He proposed to me tonight. We're getting married. I'm having his baby." So that's the lead story all the newspapers run with.
Yeah, but before that, Allison is in a room crying because Crybaby's getting locked up. she's saving her tears in a little jar.
Yeah.
And at the end, she drinks them like pee in a weird porn video.
Idiot. What the fuck are you Googling?
She drank that very awkwardly.
We're going to have a talk later.
It was all like...
It was weird. It was great. It was one of the things I remember of this movie from a kid
gross.
Was being grossed out by her drinking the tears. Yeah, but there's a jail scene musical number because this is a musical. This is our first musical. We failed to mention that. We're bad at our jobs.
Does it actually qualify as a musical?
It says it is a musical comedy.
Because less than half of it's really...
It's the musical. It's like there's a jailhouse musical number, and then it goes back and forth between him and then her crying into her jar and drinking it. Now, the prison guard is Willem Dafoe. He's on screen for like less than a minute, just kind of terrorizing Crybaby that they're going to shave his head tomorrow and making the boys say their prayers. Seems like a really weird role for him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know at what point in his life he got big, but it seems weird.
I feel like he was in stuff before this.
That's what I was thinking.
So Baldwin leads the Rich White Parade down through town to the RSV Charm School.
I don't know what the fuck that shit was.
It was
like, I have a band, weird as fuck band bunny hop. It was just weird. Like, there was a marching band, but the front four people were him and his white dudes doing a weird conga line bunny hop dance. But
it was like a conga line hokey pokey bunny hop thing.
But like the entire goddamn town was in there. There was a nun in there.
Yeah.
But they go to Allison's house.
But they're also only the white people.
Well, yeah, they arrested all the black people last night at Turkey Point. So, as this bunny hop is proceeding down the road, Allison and her grandma hear the news on the radio. It's the sound clip of Lenore saying she's pregnant and that he proposed to her. So Allison's pissed off. She thinks she's been lied to.
I think you were getting to it earlier. They edited it. They had Lenore's shit first. Then they have somebody asking Crybaby how he feels, making it seem like, how do you feel about being engaged and having a baby? He's like, it feels good. It's the best feeling ever.
Right.
So it made it worse.
Yes, absolutely. So Allison's pissed off, but Grandma, something happened to Grandma in that courtroom.
She's already flipped.
Yeah, something happened to Grandma in that courtroom. And seeing how they were treated or something, I don't know what it was.
I think a lot of it had to do with, okay, these people were having fun. They were doing their own thing. And this other group of people come in and wreck everything, but they're not the ones who are getting in trouble.
Right.
The people who are minding their own business are the ones who got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't start it.
Yep. She definitely did a 180 in that courtroom. So she's telling Allison, she was like, I don't think it's true. Don't listen to the news. You have to find out for sure. But meanwhile, the bunny hop parade has landed in her front porch. And Allison walks out on the balcony and her grandma's like, listen, you do not need to make this decision today. Like, you need to give your heart time to think. You don't have to do this. But because kids can't be talked to and adults don't know shit, she runs out there and professes her love to old Baldwin.
But at the same time, she starts taking shots at Crybaby. Like,
yeah,
she didn't even give him a chance to, like, hey, I know you're in jail, but what the fuck?
Baldwin has brought the media with him because for some reason everybody in this town is interested in this. And they say that they're singing at the opening of this theme park and he wants her to sing with them. So she, like a proposal. They're there to cover whether or not she'll say yes. She says yes, and then she starts talking shit about Crybaby and you lied to me and fuck you, eat a dick, you're raped in prison. Maybe she don't go that far. But it was a lot. And
Little Wiener Baldwin's like, I could sing better than Crybaby anyway.
Yeah. Now he got real mad at that.
Yeah.
What, Dupree? Dupree ran out and found Crybaby and turned on the radio. Was like, it's bad, it's bad. Yeah, his face, his mad face when he hears all of that on the radio was hysterical. He looked like he was turning into a werewolf.
Yeah, and kept grunting like,
like if he had ripped off his shirt a la Teen Wolf and like got pointy ears and hair, I'd have been like, yep, it's a werewolf movie now. But that sparks prison musical number 2.
Which ends in him being in handcuffs in prison, because it was more like a fight between the prisoners and the guards at that point.
Yeah.
So then we switch to Wanda's house.
Yes.
And Wanda has the real nice
parents.
way out of touch, over shelter parents. They have taken in a Swedish exchange student, and they are exchanging Wanda. They think that her getting away will be better.
Yeah, so they're going to send her ass to Sweden tonight.
So she runs out and she hitches a ride.
She does, but what the fuck are all those people outside of her house? Because when they zoom into their house, there's a bunch of people standing outside. And then when she gets mad and runs away with her luggage, all those people are like pointing and laughing at her. Who the fuck are they? Like, are they the townspeople that are there to see that she leaves?
No. They are the townspeople who, they live in a small town apparently.
Yeah.
So everybody knows everything. They're there to see these Swedish exchange students. But they're laughing at her because she's the outsider. She's the drape. Nobody cares what happens to her, right?
So there's like 20 people on the lawn to see a Swede?
It was like 6.
It was between 6 and 20. It may have not been 20, but it was way more than 6.
It was like...
But they're just standing outside to see somebody from Sweden?
They're standing outside to just gossip about what's happening. But mostly they heard there's a Swedish girl in there. They want to get a look at her. Oh, grabby-feely type shit. Apparently you learned that in SEC school.
So speaking of grabby-feely type shit, Wanda hitchhikes, and the person who stops to pick her up is the guy who was taking the $3 pictures outside of the water park.
Tow Joe, not Tow Truck Joe. This is like Big Toe Joe.
T-O-E-J-O-E?
Yeah, Tow Joe.
Okay.
And he's like, he'd definitely give her a ride.
Oh yeah, I don't know how she was going to pay for that ride, but I don't think it was going to be good.
Mm.
So she wants him to take her to the theme park.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Crybaby is getting a prison tat on his face.
He's getting a teardrop so he doesn't have to cry as much.
He says it's for Allison. He never wants it to go away.
So while they're in there, they're talking. He's in the hole, which there's 2 people in there, which doesn't make any sense. So every person gets in the hole separately. That's the whole psychology of the whole thing, anyway. But while the prison guard's in there talking shit about how you're next, you're going to get a haircut, blah, 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 Dupree steps on basically a storm drain that's there. And he's like, after the guard leaves, he's like, hey, this is your chance. You can get out. Why doesn't Dupree go with him?
I don't know.
So he's escaping through the underbelly of the prison.
I really thought you would have more to say about the prison face tattoo.
Like what?
I don't know. I just figured it would trigger you.
People are dumb. They ain't shit on their face. You want to get a tattoo on your face? Whatever. Doesn't bother me one bit.
I stand fucking corrected.
Now, like, to me, if you're going to get a tattoo on your face, you can't really go the random shit Tekashi 6ix9ine. You gotta go with, like, a traditional... The only people I know, the Maori people, they're the ones that do the face. Like, theirs actually look cool. But then if you get, like, your tramp stamp on your cheek, like Mike Tyson, that kind of looks dumb. Post Malone definitely got some rando shit.
Yeah, Post Malone shit is fucking wild. What, like, his face says always sleepy?
Something like that. His eyebrows say always sleepy.
Yeah, just weird.
I think it's just the weed.
So, he goes crawling through the sewer. He loses his pants with his attempted prison escape. Meanwhile, Hatchet-face and her boyfriend are stealing a helicopter because, of course, Hatchet-face knows how to play a saxophone and drive a helicopter.
Why not? Or land this helicopter in the prison yard. They get out and she just pulls out her switchblades like, where's he at?
Yeah, we're gonna have a prison break with a knife.
Meanwhile, Crybaby is still in the underbelly and Bizarro Master Splinter leads him out. And by out, I mean back into the barbershop of the prison.
He pops up out of the sewer grate in the barbershop. And then the little rat goes...
He's just laughing his ass off.
It was definitely weird. So, Pepper, Grandma Ramona, and Uncle Belvedere are at the orphanage, posing as a happy family trying to adopt some children. So they're looking for 2, a boy and a girl about 6 or 7. Now, they have these children in glass windows, and they've made stories up for them.
It's basically like they're selling children in a zoo.
It was really weird. Like, there's one vacuum, it was like, this one helps with the housework and cleans the windows. Now, the first little girl, the orphanage lady says, she's Caucasian, and that's pretty much all I have good to say about her.
Yeah, that was real fucked up.
I was like, holy fucking shit. So they have Pepper's kids dressed up as Siamese twins, or excuse me, as conjoined twins. And she's like, these are the ones I want. She's like, oh no, conjoined twins, much too messy. Well, no, you don't want to deal with that.
The lady says Siamese twins.
I know she said Siamese twins, but I want it to be known that I am not saying that. I'm woke as fuck, guys. So they won't give them, the orphanage lady won't give her the kids she wants. So she whips out a little gun, and by little I mean big.
She's like, I'm taking my fucking
and
kids.
takes them by force. But she lets all the kids go.
Does she?
They let all the kids in the orphanage go, and they stick her in one of those little windows because she's on a little hobby horse.
Yeah.
Screaming, let me out, and like 20 kids flood out of this orphanage.
Then it shows Allison singing for old Crybaby to be let out. No. We missed some shit.
They are at the Enchanted Forest,
Yes.
the opening of this theme park. And everybody is there. Allison and the basic whites. Okay, scene.
I counted 9.
The scene out front of Wanda's house is on now. He counted 9 people. It's very weird. So they're at the Enchanted Forest theme park. Allison is singing with the basic whites up on top of a castle.
Now, while they're singing, old boy and his group, like, take her microphone and, like, scoot her back, and she's starting to get pissed.
Yeah, like, you asked me to sing with you. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But the whole time, she starts noticing, like, all the Drake people are around, and they're dressed as mascots or working there, and they're all like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Like, we're here to save you.
Yeah, it's very weird. So Grandma Ramona goes up to Allison's grandma and gives her, like, a skull pin, and
like a skull and crossbones, and she puts it right in the middle of her flower.
Yeah, her boutonniere flower.
And she looks proud of it, too.
Oh, she's super happy. She's done a full 180.
She's honorary Drake for the day.
Yeah. Grandma's all fucking in.
She got her honorary draperate.
Draperate?
Like an honorary doctorate.
I understood. So Grandma tells Allison she should pick the man who loves her the most.
Oh, hold on. So, while they're still up there singing, and Allison's noticed, like,
she's surrounded.
Well, she knows she's surrounded, but she's also getting treated like ass by these boys that are up there singing
basic
with her.
whites.
So, now that Crybaby's in jail, out in the crowd is Lenore again, thirsty as hell. She starts, like, making eyes at old Baldwin, and Baldwin's, like, sending signals back, and she, like, does something as she's singing and opens her arm and jacks Baldwin in the face.
Yes, she does.
So she's mad that Lenore's there, and I guess she can kind of see, like, Lenore's just a thirst trap. Did I use that right?
No, you did not. Hot men are thirst traps. Hot women are thirst traps. Lenore is thirsty.
No, she wasn't playing an asshole. She wasn't bad looking.
She's thirsty. She becomes trapped by thirst traps.
By people who get thirsted on.
Yes.
Did I use that right?
Like, girls that come up on your For You page on TikTok are thirst traps.
Not all of them.
I've seen your For You page.
I don't know.
Lenore is just a thirsty fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dehydrated as fuck.
She's just a bad person all around.
She does seem to be a real bad person.
Like, I mean, it's bad enough to be one of those thirsty bitches that... It's one thing if you are, like, that a guy that you think is hot, you like him, whatever... But as soon as that one becomes unavailable, if you act the same way to the very next one in line...
Well, also telling the girl he's with that, like, you're pregnant with his child and he's gonna marry you. Like, that's fucking awful. So let's just take a side real fast here to talk about hatchet-face.
Okay, I was just thinking the same thing. So this whole movie, they're just, like, kind of low-key dogging her the whole way.
It's not real low-key. So, it was written... John Waters directed this film. It was... written for his drag queen friend, Devon.
That part.
Yes. Devon died. So they had to find an actress who could do hatchet-face. So they put out a print advertisement that said, wanted, girl with a good body and an alarming face who is proud of it.
They wanted a Butterface. She was the original Butterface.
So... you were supposed to send your headshot to their office, and she was hired immediately. But, like the scene that just happened that made us both go, let's stop and talk about this, is there's this adorable little cow in this field by the helicopter, and she smiles at it because it is adorable, and it moos and runs away terrified. Now, a lot of it is the makeup. The makeup is awful, and the makeup makes it worse, but she is not classically attractive in real life either. But I have to hand it to her boyfriend here. Because every time it happens, every time somebody says something about her being ugly or the cow runs away scared, he tells her she's beautiful and kisses her. And it is the sweetest fucking shit I have ever goddamn seen. Like, boyfriend of the year fucking award right there. Like, he can see she's upset when the cow runs away from her. And he just kisses her face and, like, squeezes her hand. It's fucking adorable.
But I mean, who signs up for this?
Yeah, who signs up to just be made fun of for 2 hours forever? Like this scene that's on right now, all the prisoners are watching a 3D movie of Thing from the Black Lagoon, and she pops out of the movie screen, and they're all freaking out. Terrified, like falling over each other.
I guess they could have been trying to play up the whole scary situation.
Yeah, it's real fucked up. It's very sad.
It is fucked up.
She is dead now. She's one of our rests in peace later. But
one of our rips.
She's one of our rips later, but she became a lawyer after this.
But was she the original Butterface? She had to be, right?
I guess. I don't know. I feel uncomfortable answering that question. But do you respond to Rockin' Bod Unfortunate Face?
Alarming. Face.
Alarming. Alarming's worse than unfortunate.
And you talked about the makeup, but when they do her lipstick in every shot, there's on the, I guess, her left, they go up and do like a little arc, and then on her right, on the lower lip, they do an arc, so it always looks like her lips are cock-assed.
Right.
But then she also accentuates it like by holding her mouth funky.
Yeah, and her eyebrows are wild, and the eye, like, it's all really dressed up with makeup. She said she was thankful for the film and the makeup, because after that, just in normal life, people thought she didn't look too bad.
That's sad.
It's so sad.
Did you notice that the Chatterbox Orphanage logo on the outside is basically like a horror film, Tales from the Crypt font?
I did not, but once you get inside, it's also Tales from the Crypt horror film Black Mirror bullshit. Because again, it's just window dressings of children. There's one gardening, there's one playing a piano. This little boy has on an apron vacuuming with a sign that says, "Take me home." Her children, like I said, are dressed as conjoined twins in front of like a circus tent. So like I guess they were hoping for the circus to stroll through and need a freak show attraction.
No, they wanted them to stay there. They don't want the dregs of society.
Oh.
So they were trying to do everything they could to
So they were just going to grow up there?
Yes.
Alright.
To keep them out of society.
So anyway, back to Allison making choices. One of the drapes picks her up and like swings her out on a rope and lands her beside her grandma. And she tells her to pick the man who loves her most. So immediately cut to her now in a red dress on top of a car out front of the prison singing for them to let him go.
No, let's cut back to old SEC boys for a second.
I'm preferring to call them the basic white dudes as
The
to not
basic
alienate any SEC people who are not also douchebags.
You're far and few between, but there are out there. I made a broad generalization, and I shouldn't have done that. But
Tim Tebow seems like a nice guy.
he does. He looks a little. He's got a little bit of the
He's
SEC
got the face.
in him.
He's got the face.
He's definitely got a different gene pool there with him too. So he's got a little variation on it.
Oh my god.
So you had said the whole SEC thing, or they all look like the bow ties. All look like they're going to be involved in a sexual assault case later, right?
Right.
Throughout the whole movie, old Baldwin's just grabby feely,
yes,
even around Grandma. In the first scene with them,
Grandma
in the car.
has to say, "I told you, girls don't like to be
Yeah.
pawed at."
He's all over him. I wanted to say that earlier.
Yeah, even Allison was like, "How am I supposed to think when you're always on me?"
Yeah. The scene where Grandma gets her drape pin, she is so happy.
She is
to be an honorary drape at this point.
Now, in the beginning of the movie, Wanda calls Allison a scrape, or Pepper calls Allison a scrape, half drape, half square. Would you say that's what Grandma is now?
Yeah. Why don't they call them greasers and she can be a grape? Oh no, that would be grape and a drape, or grease and a drape.
Yeah.
So are you double white trash at that point, or like if your mom's a greaser and your dad's a drape?
I think they're the same things in a different word.
But what if
I think it's like white and eggshell. Like they're the same thing.
white and eggshell? Not to everybody.
We did like picking a collar for a wall. Like,
I guess scrape is better than drayer.
Oh, here in the scene where Allison is supposed to be picking between Crybaby and Baldwin, Lenore, who is now in full square attire, grabs a little girl's baby doll and says, "Allison, look, I had my baby. I'm a square now." Like, clearly holding a baby doll.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's just a fucking lunatic.
Her grandma says, "You may be a square now, but you're still trash." Yeah, she's actual crazy. Like, took a baby doll in front of everybody and said she had her baby.
Yeah, she did. Like, she has no concept that other people know what she said before. And now is lying about something else and just doesn't care.
Well, they saw her do it, and it's clearly a fake baby.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a good fake baby like that one we saw at that craft fair.
Oh my god.
That we were concerned about.
Yeah. I don't even know how to tell that story. So we're at a craft fair in, like, middle of town, Main Street kind of deal. There's a bunch of booths everywhere. There's a lady. She has a, what would you say, 8 to 10-year-old daughter?
Right.
In a stroller. And when I say stroller...
not in pushing a stroller.
They're both pushing the stroller. The stroller has a baby in it. And this stroller is a...
It was like a good, like, $300
stroller. Had all the works. Everything. They had a diaper bag. They had...
Yeah, it had all the stuff underneath it.
So... The little girl is looking at stuff. The mom's looking at stuff. The little girl's like, oh, this would match.
They're looking at baby stuff.
This would match, this outfit. Or this would match that. Or this would look pretty. We'd have to get something to go with this.
Yeah. They asked about trying stuff on and took things out of packages and tried it on the baby.
But there was a time where the baby didn't move. It didn't make a sound. And it's like, is the baby okay?
Yeah.
Now, did they tell us that it was fake?
Yeah, they were like,
okay.
Oh, it's a baby doll. And I was like, yes. Fucking say what now? Because they had an armload of stuff they were purchasing for this baby that was going to match the outfits
it was
that
like
it had.
$50 or $60 for the shit.
Of accessory, like headbands and little shoes and a tutu. And it was like, they're like matching it up with things it had in a closet at home. And then they were trying it on the baby.
Yeah, but this was the most realistic looking thing.
It had to be like one of those real baby things, right? Like...
I feel like
what are they called?
I feel like it's higher grade than that. Like this thing probably costs like $1,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the ones that like moms who've miscarried get.
Like I don't know what the story is behind that, but it was like they spent a lot of money.
A reborn baby.
That also seems sketchy. Like no, those don't look as real as this thing did.
Yeah, because reborn babies are like hundreds of dollars. But yeah, it was very weird. And they were talking about, like, its closet at home. But I can't figure out if it was the little girl's baby doll or if it was, like, the mom's, like, reborn baby. And...
You think maybe it was just something they got into together, like...
And now they're in a psychosis together that they can't break out of?
Something that they bonded over. I don't know.
No judgment.
You sound like you are bringing the judgment.
Not me, man.
But the amount of disposable income these people had on this thing...
It has to have been wild. It was a wealthier town. It was an old money kind of town.
The old money whites?
Yeah. It was a squares town.
It was definitely a squares town. Definitely 1950s squares town.
Yeah.
And a few miles away was definitely the Drapes.
Yeah. Yeah! Oh my god. Okay, so now she's in red on top of a car hood outside of the prison singing. And the grandma's boogieing down and the judge is looking out the window because he's apparently also in this kiddie prison for some reason. He's boogieing with grandma. They making eyes at each other.
But the judge really wants grandma.
Yeah, he was making eyes at her in the court. Yeah, he called her beautiful. I'm releasing Allison because you're so beautiful. I was like, The fuck? So, Crybaby's about to get his hair cut. And I mean, in the chair, the clippers are about to touch his head. And they call for him and say he has a visitor. So he gets out of the chair, runs to the lobby. Allison and all of them bust through. And they just start kind of like humping on the window.
Humping on the window. He's licking the window.
Grandma's boogieing on the window with Dupree. But at one point, at the end of their song, Crybaby takes the phone and busts the window. And it busts all of the windows. Or partitions between the prisoners and the free people.
The general population.
The gin pop. So they step out and him and Allison kiss. And then the judge is like running down to release him.
Yeah, so there's a press conference outside.
Yes, it's like front page news that he's released. There's a huge press conference. They have taken barbed wire fencing and ran it down the middle.
No, it's razor wire.
Okay, apparently I'm not up on my spiky wires. Razor wire down the middle to separate the squares and the drapes. The squares are booing him that he's being released, of which Lenore is the ringleader now. But also in the back, they have 2 or 3 pieces of wood with nooses dangling from it. Did you see it? I know I asked at one point if you saw it, and you said no, and then they briefly show it again. See them in the back? There's like 4 or 5 of them, actually. Yeah, there's a close-up.
Wow.
Yeah, plumb crazy.
Oh, Tiny Wiener Baldwin starts mouthing off at Crybaby, and Crybaby challenges him to a game of chicken.
Hold on. It is very important what Baldwin said.
All right.
Baldwin said that his grandpa was the one that pulled the electric chair switch that killed Crybaby's dad. And that every Christmas, his grandpa gathers the family around and they retell it and all laugh at him. That's some wild shit to say to somebody.
Basically triggers Crybaby into anger, challenges Baldwin into a chicken match. I don't know what to call that. Game of chicken.
Race? Game of chicken, yes.
Only they are going to be on top of the car, so this has nothing to do with them at all.
That's what I thought.
Nothing.
I mean, I guess you could be like, hey, stop.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Which eventually Baldwin does, because he's pussy.
But they're on top of these cars.
Racing at each other.
Oh, Grandma's over here trying to convince Baldwin to stop. He's like, you were born a square and you're going to die square. You're coming with me, and kidnaps her. Throws her in the fucking car. Crybaby's car has Uncle Belvedere driving, Grandma Ramona in the front seat, and then Pepper's in the back seat fucking giving birth. Fun fact, it's a girl. Yeah.
It was kind of weird for them to show that, right?
So she gives birth, holds it up in the back glass so Daddy can see. He's standing there with the other 2 kids and a sign that says, "Will you marry me?" Fucking wild.
And everybody gathers...
Why are we endangering all of these people?
I don't know. But everybody gathers around like this is some kind of fucking spectator sport. Somebody is either going to crash into the other one or turn away and run into a crowd of people.
Yeah, bitches fitting to die.
But eventually, does Baldwin tell him to turn?
Yeah, he says, turn the wheel, turn the wheel.
So they lose. Something happened and Dupree got Allison on a motorcycle.
Yeah, they were where they started, so he's going to take her to where they're going to finish.
Okay. They hit a bump and Allison gets thrown 80 feet in the air, somersaults, and lands in Crybaby's arms as he wins.
Yeah. And you said, I don't know why she's in the air, and I was like, oh, they hit a bump.
Yeah, because I was looking at the TV, and just she's flying through the air in the worst mannequin launch I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And everybody has tears down their eyes.
So Crybaby has 2 tears, because he normally only sheds the 1.
But she was worth 2.
But Crybaby's also singing the entire time he's on the car, because he tells Baldwin, I want to sing something rock and roll, something something my dad would have liked, something colored.
And Baldwin's like, oh! He like has a physical reaction.
Whew. But how come nobody's like, okay, the race is done, you got your bitch, everybody's happy. Can somebody take Pepper and her newly born baby to the hospital to now deliver the placenta? And that baby came out squeaky fucking clean, and there was no umbilical cord.
Well, she's a pro at this, right?
Well, she didn't clamp the umbilical cord with her pussy lips.
No, but she's a professional baby haver. Old Grandma has a whole clan of white people that have had, I'm guessing, 17 children each. I feel like Grandma knew exactly what to do, when to do it, and how.
It probably wasn't put her in the backseat of a fucking car that was going head first at another car.
But it was smart to put her in the backseat so she has cushioned when they hit.
Well, I can't fucking argue with that now, can I? God damn.
So I feel like Grandma's probably delivered, because they seem like the, we're not going to a hospital kind of people, right?
They do seem like, well, yeah, because when you meet Uncle Belvedere, he's in his birthday suit naked in a metal tub outside taking his bath.
In a metal tub a 3-year-old might barely fit in.
Taking his bath in the middle of the yard while people 15 yards away at the swimming hole. So, also considered for the role of Crybaby were Tom Cruise, Robert Downey Jr., and Jim Carrey.
I feel like the only other legit option, Robert Downey Jr.
Said that John Waters went out and bought $30 worth of teen heartthrob magazines, and Johnny Depp was on 90% of them, and he was like, that's who it'll be.
And they just call him up and be like, hey, you're going to be in this movie. He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, because it was really his first real movie. He was in TV shows.
I thought he was in Nightmare Before Elm Street.
He was, but tiny bit.
He was in there a pretty good bit. He was fucking shit up in there.
He was fucking shit up? Yeah.
Not waking up, not knowing what you're fucking
now,
supposed to do.
Now, this is real-ass Johnny Depp. Don't be mistaking him for sketch-ass Johnny Depp.
Now, sketch-ass Johnny Depp does some sketch-ass shit, but real-ass Johnny Depp in that movie that he played, as a teenage boy, this girl that you love and adore, you're not gonna not do what she says, right?
I don't know. Do I have the option of telling you what to do?
Not anymore.
What the fuck? Like white dress and it's over, or? Not anymore. God damn. Now, neither Johnny Depp or Amy Locane, Locane, is that how you would say that?
Sure.
Did their own singing. Which is weird because Johnny Depp sings in a lot of things. Like, he toured with a rock band. He sang in Sweeney Todd, but he didn't sing. His singing voice was James Intveld. Intveld.
Mm-hmm.
And hers was Rachel Sweet. But they were uncredited. And that seems like bullshit. So, here, you can get your shout out right here.
Why weren't they credited?
I don't know.
It's kind of fucked up.
Now, it says that a real murder served as a loose inspiration for Crybaby. 14-year-old Carolyn Wazolkowski was found on the train tracks in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania after she disappeared from Baltimore. Carolyn was missing her skirt, and written in lipstick on her right thigh was the name Paul. Carolyn was a member of a Drake's group, and part of what made the story so ripe for exploring was the mystery of it all. The case remains unsolved. But very loose inspiration. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with this at all?
I don't know.
So, got some rips. Quite a few. Susan Tyrrell played Grandma Ramona. She died in 2012 at the age of 67. Polly Bergen, is that how you say that?
Sure.
Was Mrs. Vernon Williams. She died in 2014 at the age of 84. Kim McGuire was hatchet-face. She died in 2016 at the age of 60. Troy Donahue was hatchet-face's dad. He died in 2001 at the age of 65. And David Nelson was Wanda's dad, who died in 2011 at the age of 74. Now, Allison here, Amy Locane, she killed somebody in a fatal DUI car crash in 2010. Says this story is from 3 days ago. Said she is set to be sentenced for a fourth time after her latest sentence was rejected by an appeals court on Wednesday.
She did this in 2010?
Yes.
And she's just now...
No. The new ruling claims Superior Court judge who resentenced Locane in 2019 to 5 years after her first two convictions from another judge were overturned for being too short under minimum sentencing guidelines, employed a methodology all of his own, and ignored the appeals court mandate on how aggravating and mitigating factors in the case should be weighed. So she was sentenced initially, but minimum was like 7 years and he gave her 3. So she served the 3 years, from what I understand, was sentenced in 2013, serving nearly 2.5 years of a 3-year sentence on charges of vehicular homicide and assault that killed a 60-year-old woman and seriously injured her husband before she was released. But it was too short, so now different judges keep sentencing her, and they keep appealing them and overturning them because they're too short. Like, I don't know why they won't just tell this bitch she has to do at least 7 years in prison.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like it was an accident. You got drunk and you got behind the wheel. That's your fault.
Yeah.
That's no different from murdering somebody.
Says she's been out of prison for 5 years and been out of parole for 2 years. I don't understand why society or the government or the court would want to put her back into jail now. So, I don't know. Weird situation.
It's kind of fucked up.
It's super fucked up all the way around.
I feel like if I got drunk and hit somebody and they died, I'd end up in jail forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do crime, because it seems to actually have paid. Like, we grew up with the whole crime doesn't pay slogan, but that seems like bullshit. So this movie did not do well. The movie didn't do well from a money standpoint. It had a budget of $12 million, and it only made $8.3 million.
Yikes.
Yeah.
They might have made some of that back up by now in DVD sales, right?
Possibly, but that was its box office. It was a box office flop. So given this new information, do you want to take a stab at the
Dometometer. I'm going to say 50s all around.
50s all around? The critics gave it a 73.
How?
Oh, is this a preview of your rating? And the audience a 77.
Did you look up the right movie?
I did.
Let me see.
The critics' consensus says John Waters' musical ode to the teen rebel genre is infectious and gleefully camp, providing star Johnny Depp with the perfect vehicle in which to lampoon his pin-up image. You didn't get that from that, huh?
Not at all.
Alright. Damn. Looking forward to your review here in a minute. So before that, it's time for
Ratchet Reviews.
So I have a 4-star one because I thought it was funny. Let me get this straight. None of you were going to tell me there was a movie where Willem Dafoe spanks Johnny Depp's ass and goes, "It's Betty Bye time."
Yep, that does happen.
Half a star. When I die and go to hell, this movie will be playing on a loop to ensure my eternal suffering.
Dang, like I didn't like it that much, but wow.
That's fucking rough.
If that's what hell is, it's not too bad.
Now, I don't know if y'all have watched Preacher on AMC or read the comic book, but I assume that if there is a hell, they've probably gotten the closest to the interpretation of it, which is just where you are made to relive your worst memory over and over and over and over again for eternity.
What makes it even worse is every now and then they get a break.
Yeah.
They the power went down or whatever that was, and they got a little bit of a break, and then they got to go right back into it. And I was like, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, it's rough. But apparently in this girl's hell, it will just be Crybaby.
We need to watch the rest of that.
Can't.
But yes, we can. Good show. I recommend it.
It is a really good show. It will make you vegetarian, as it did me, and 2 episodes made me physically ill, like nauseous. It made me nauseous. Like nothing. There was nothing gross in the show. Nothing gross in that episode.
That was the one where I kept re-looping, right?
Yes.
And then you got a little bit different information.
Yes.
Every loop, and
it looped until I threw up. So if you have anxiety, maybe don't.
I feel like if a show does that, it's good.
Goddamn.
If something can make you have
goddamn
that
Seth
type of reaction.
Rogen. Okay, half a star. I'll make this one short and sweet. Nothing makes any goddamn sense in this movie. Plot holes everywhere you look. Terrible acting, which admittedly got a couple of laughs from how terrible it was, but that doesn't forgive it. And the most bipolar characters you'll ever see in a movie. At least Iggy Pop's character was introduced exactly how I pictured him in a movie, butt naked. NEKKKID. Bathing himself in a metal bucket.
Whoa, my dude, did you have to use 3?
I think it was just a naked.
Did you have to use 3?
Well.
2 is the most you can get in a row.
Okay, but still.
Jeez.
Oh. 1 star. Dead ass. This is just grease, but everyone's on crack. 1 star. This movie made me physically ill. By the last song where he's on the car playing chicken, I had to run around my house to get over how bad this movie was making my stomach hurt and my restless leg syndrome flare up.
I feel like you got other things going on. This movie should not make your stomach hurt.
I just said Preacher made my stomach hurt, but
this is not as emotionally captivating as...
No. Unless you laugh until your stomach hurts when he starts talking about his dad being the ABC bomber or the alphabet bomber. Because that was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, unless you're laughing until your stomach hurts, this movie should not draw that reaction.
Okay. So I have one last review, and I have to tell on myself. His review says something so fucked up to me. I pull these reviews mostly from Letterboxd. In that, you make a profile. It has his full name. I clicked on his full name. It linked his Twitter. I clicked on his Twitter and stalked him until I found out when he was born. because it was pertinent. 1 star. Terrible. The only 2 reasons for me wasting my precious time on this is young Johnny Depp and that late 80s aesthetic.
When was he born?
Like, this movie was set in the 50s. There was no late 80s aesthetic in here. Like, this movie is from the 50s.
You could argue that a lot of the punk bands had the leather...
I will not.
stuff.
I won't argue that. No. No. He was born in 2000.
When was this review given?
2018.
So he was 8.
Yeah.
Now, would it be wrong for me to assume that he's gay?
His name...
What's his name?
His name is encapsulated on either side by a rainbow.
Because he said young Johnny Depp, and usually... So you can tell a lot about somebody by how they post shit on the internet.
Yeah.
So this is a young gay dude who really loves younger John. I wonder if he likes older Johnny Depp.
Older Johnny Depp didn't age great.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got for Ratchet reviews.
What's your review? Alright, let me ask you this. What would your review been coming just based off memory, not having watched it again today? Would it have been higher?
It would have been higher, just based on memory. I'm going to give it... I've been all movie trying to figure out if I'm going to give it a 2 or a 2.5. I think I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Really? I thought you'd be higher.
No, it would have been higher re-seeing it today.
Now, this is out of 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, it is overacted. Do you think it's meant to be overacted, though? Because I feel like Johnny Depp, young Johnny Depp, old Johnny Depp, all Johnny Depps, does a better job than that.
I feel like there are certain scenes which they definitely...
Like, it's supposed to be a campy, kind of parody movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like the acting is intentional.
The doctors giving the shots were overacting. The people getting the shots at the beginning were overacting.
Yeah, it's definitely intentional.
They really definitely told the drapes or the rednecks to overact a lot.
Right.
And when the squares were supposed to have an emotional response, you could tell they were told to take it to the next level. Like, if you were angry, make it real.
Right.
Obvious.
Right.
I feel like it's probably more of how they wanted it.
Right. It's kind of John Waters aesthetic.
Alright. Remind me what else John Waters has done.
Hairspray is the only thing that you are going to know.
Okay. That makes sense.
And this also went on to be a Broadway play.
Now, I remember... Would you say Hairspray is a better movie
Yes.
than this? Because I remember it being better.
Probably.
I was also going to give it a 2.5.
Oh,
Just
he did Serial Mom. Do you remember that?
No.
I'm trying to look through his films to see if there's anything else I can think of that you might. It says he did Seed of Chucky. Maybe he was just in Seed of Chucky. Yeah, mostly just Hairspray. So you said you were also what? You're also giving it a 2.5?
Yeah, it was just kind of... It wasn't
It was good
terrible.
for what it was.
It wasn't extraordinary. It was just there. It's definitely a movie.
Don't steal my reviews. Sure is a movie.
It's a movie.
Had characters,
Yeah.
it's 2 hours long, the whole thing.
It had a beginning, a middle, and kind of an end.
Had an end.
It
It had a better end than Grease.
I don't remember too much of the...
They win the race. John Travolta wins the race, and then him and Olivia Newton-John, the car somehow takes flight and flies up into the goddamn sky.
And it cuts off.
Yes. Why is it in the sky? So we're in agreement. It sure is a movie.
It is a movie.
I think I just had a lot of nostalgia for it because it was on TV so much as a kid. I don't understand why it was on TV so much.
I feel like... I mean, it might have been cheap. But I feel like a lot of people's... Sometimes their favorite movie isn't their favorite because it was a good movie.
Right.
It just reminds them of a time where either things might not have been good or weren't bad, but it took you away from bad things if they were there.
Right, sure.
Like how some reason you like Twister, and it's not really that great of a movie.
Fuck you.
What'd I give Twister? Like a 3 something?
I don't know.
Maybe a 4? I don't know.
Have to go back and listen.
Oh, I like Jingle All the Way. It's not terrible. It's not the best Christmas movie ever, but I like it.
Yeah.
But also, I remember my sister watched that movie for like 6 months out of the year.
By the time she forgot it was time for Christmas again.
Thanksgiving to June.
To June.
So maybe 7 or 8 months.
Why is it your favorite? You should definitely hate it.
Like I said, sometimes they're not your favorite because they're good. It just reminds you of other times. Or like you said, you had more nostalgia for this movie than...
Yeah, it would have been higher had somebody asked me yesterday. I'd been like, oh, that's a good movie. You should watch that. But it was fine. Do you know what movie you're doing next week?
I don't know. I'm trying not to be Arnold Schwarzenegger heavy.
We've done two Arnold Schwarzenegger movies out of 36 episodes. I think it's fine. There's certain actors that are just going to come up more in the 80s and 90s.
I feel
like the 90s was kind of Arnold's time. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Late 80s, early 90s was Arnold's time.
There's nothing you can really do.
Now, I feel like once we start getting into Tom Hanks, it's never going to end. Like, once we start the Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington era. So, I might do The Running Man, but I might change my mind.
All right.
And that's been Run It Back for Crybaby. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah. Visit our website, runitbackpodcast.com. It has links to all of our social media. It has our podcast there, and it also has links for you to subscribe on your favorite podcast apps. runitbackpodcast.com.